This video is about how to use Django .contib.auth package for user authorization. I have created a basic Django project. It has one app, the blog app, one URL pattern for a blog page, one view, the index view, and one HTML template of the blog's index page. And this page just renders the hello world text. This one, and the page has just the h1 header with the hello world text. And also I'm using Bootstrap CSS styles. First of all, I need to restrict access to this page, so only authenticated users are able to read it to get the blog page. This one. And then I have to create a user. I'll do it via Django shell. You can do it like in the previous video. And then I want to implement the basic authentication system for a user. Okay, to restrict access to the view, I want to use the login required mixin. I have to import it from contrib.auth mixins. And this mixin should become an ancestor for my view. So let's test it. F5. And we can see that instead of the blog page, I was redirected to the account's login page. And it means that the login required mixin is working. Just the page is not found. So I want to use the Django .contib.auth package to authorize the user. And it means that my further steps should be the following. First of all, I need to create new URL patterns for login and logout user. Then I have to use the LoginView and LogoutView classes from the auth package to handle according users' requests. Then I need to specify my custom templates that Django should use to log in and log out a user. And at last I have to render in my custom templates the authentication form from the auth package. As my task is to authenticate a user, thus I have to create a user app. And also I need an instance of the user model. So you can use users from the previous video about basic user registration, but I rapidly create a user from scratch. And to do it, I need Django shell. I am activating virtual environment. And the shell. Okay, first of all, I have to import the getUserModel function. And the user variable will be the result of the getUserModel function, and it's the user model. Okay. Let's create new user. Model manager objects. Create user method. And the first argument is the name, username. The second is the email. And the password. Let's say it'll be my password. Okay, let's look at the password field. And that's why it's a good idea to use Django's user model from the auth package. As we can see, Django doesn't store password in a plain text. The first part of the line is the hashing algorithm. The second part is the number of iterations of the hashing algorithm applied to the password. The third part is the cryptographic salt. And the fourth one is the hash of the password. So, okay, now I have the user. User with a red username. And the next step is to create a user app and create URL patterns to route incoming requests. So I need the manage py file. And I have to append the installed apps list with my user app. Installed apps in the settings py module. User. I can close settings py, and now I needed to create new routes for login and logout. So in the root URLs py file, I am creating a new URL pattern. All requests to the user will be also resolved with a user app and its URLs py module. And in the user app folder, I'm creating a new file, URLs py. The first URL pattern will be login, and all requests to the user login page will be handled with the LoginView class from the auth package. So I have to import it from django.contib.auth views, import LoginView. Okay, and the name of this pattern will be login URL. Okay, let's test it. User login. I have to restart my server. Okay, URL patterns. And again, F5. Great. And we can see that Django handles our request, but it tries to render registration login HTML template, but I don't have it. And I need to specify the template that Django should use for user authentication. And I can do it by passing into the asView method the template name argument. And let's say it will be the user login HTML template. This is the HTML template I want to render. So let's refresh the page again, and we can see that LoginView tries to render user login that does not exist yet. So let's create it. I have to create the templates folder and the child user folder. And then I have to create the login HTML file. It will extend the base HTML and it will have some content here. Let's say the login. Let's restart the server. and I got the login page. And now I have to render on this page the login form. And by default, Django uses authentication form from the django.contib.auth forms module, and we can use it right now in the template. F5, and we can see the form. But in this video I want to use this form explicitly. So in the views, in the URLs.py module of the user app, I want to import the authentication form from django.contib.auth forms module, and then I need to pass it into the asView function as an argument. Authentication form, and the value will be this class. Let's refresh the page, and nothing changed. Great. Then in login HTML template, I want to use the form in a proper way. So I need a form tag, method should be post, and the action attribute is the function that will handle the submitted data. And in my case, it's the LoginView class. So to build the URL to the class, I have to use the URL function. And its argument will be the name of the URL pattern, the login URL. Then the CSRF token, and if there are some errors, I want to see them. So for error in form non-field errors, I want to use div with alert danger CSS classes, and I want to render the errors. Margin from top 1. Okay, and the fields of the form will be wrapped with div with the form group CSS class. And if the form has some field errors, I want to see them too. So before the end for filter, I want to check if field errors, and then okay, and the button. Okay, let's test it. F5. I want to add margin bottom 5. Okay, but before I'll try it, I want to have the logout functionality. So in the URLs.py module of the user app, I need to create a new URL pattern that will be logout, and the handler will be LogoutView that I have to import from the views module of the auth package. LogoutView. The name will be logout URL, and let's test it. User logout And we can see the standard Django's admin page that said that I've been successfully logged out. And again, instead of this page, I want to use my custom logout template. And I can do it with the template name argument. So, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, logout HTML, let's create it. It will extend the base HTML. Okay, it works, but I think that it can be a good idea to redirect a user to the login page again after he'll log out to relog in. And one of the ways to achieve it is to use the next page parameter of the asView method. So, LogoutView, and I am adding the next page parameter, and the next page should be the redirection URL. And here I want to use the reverse lazy function that will generate a URL to the login view. So let's import it from URLs module reverse lazy. And I'm calling it here. The next page is the result of the reverse lazy function, and the argument is the name of the URL pattern, login URL. Let's test it again. And I was redirected to the login page. And it's time to test the login form. So I have the red user with the my password. So let's fill it. Login. And it's working, but Django redirects me to the accounts profile page that doesn't exist. But anyway, I was logged in. Let's check the blog page. And we can see that the content is revealed. I get its content. Okay, let's log out. User. Logout. And I was redirected to the login page. Let's go back to the blog page. And this time we can see that Django tries to redirect me to the login page, because the login is required. So I need to set a new redirect for the login required mixin, and also I have to get the blog page after login, instead of the accounts profile page. So the login required mixin has the login page class attribute that I want to use. It's the blog app, and I need its views, the index view that uses login required mixin. And the login required mixin has the login URL class attribute, and it will be the result of the reverse lazy function, and I am passing into it the name of the URL pattern. I have to import the reverse lazy from Django URLs import, and the reverse lazy will generate a URL to the login page. Let's test it. Blog, and I was redirected to the login page. And also we can see that Django added to the URL the next get argument, and it's the page the user wanted to visit. And we can use the next get parameter in our HTML template. So the login HTML, and I want to use it somewhere here after non-field errors. For example, if next, and then I want to add a hidden input field, type hidden, the name will be next, the value will be next. Let's test it again. Redirect, read my password, login, and I was redirected to the blog page and I can see its content. Okay, and the last thing I want to do is to add CSS classes to the Django authentication form. User, logout. And as you know, I can do it by subclassing the authentication form, so I have to create in the user app the forms py file. Now I need to create a new class. Let's say it will be my login form. It's a subclass of the authentication form. I'm defining a init method that gets positional and keyword arguments. Then I just call in the parents init method. And then for each field of the authentication form class, I have to set a new CSS class. So for field name in a list of username and the password, I set for the fields dictionary new authors dictionary. So it should be class and form control. And then I have to use my form. So instead of the authentication form, I want to use my login form. That I want to import from forms, import or import all or directly my login form. And this line I can delete. Let's test it again. And we can see Bootstrap CSS styles. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.